10 seconds.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back from the View from the Deadbox. It's your host, Michael and Wes. We're actually here today with a nice guest, a special star,
Yep.
Reese Stock. He has decided to come on and grace us with his presence. So I think he dabbles in a little bit of the shooty ball as well. So
On the college side, something we're not too familiar with.
yeah, that it'd be great to get a little bit of knowledge from the whole college perspective of it. That's something I've always seen, and it was very interesting because when everybody was slowing down and playing a little bit less points, I always seen some of these events, these college teams were playing like a lot more points, like almost playing, like pro level NXL points. You see some of these college teams were playing like 7, 8 points in a row, like back and forth without an issue. It's crazy because everybody else was going Mercy 2, Mercy 3, race to 4. They were done in like 2-4, but I've seen college games go like 7-8, like sometimes crazy. So tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got started.
Yeah, well, before I get started on that, actually, it's funny you bring up the crazy amount of points. The first national event that I played, the NCPA National Championships with UCF back in 2018, in the entire event, we shot 119 cases of paint.
Oh, God.
And that's because it's still true xball, 2 10-minute halves. And there's not an increase in rate of fire. It's still 10.5 like everybody else, but just shoot a lot of paint, man.
What's the average like point difference, or sorry, not point difference, but total point per match? Like what does it end up playing? Like 7 to 8 or
it's
10?
really hard to say because it depends on the program. Luckily, UCF has been a pretty dominant program over the past few years.
Yes.
There's a lot of times where we just skunk teams, and there's some times where we get skunked ourselves. The finals in 2018, we almost got mercy ruled. Or no, we did get mercy ruled, by Liberty University.
Michael, you would joke that you bringing them up.
That's actually, I brought them up. When I NXL World Cup, not the NCPA World Cup, I played with Georgia Southern. We had the old coach, Todd Hodgson. I forget to say his name, but he guested with us, and he was the old coach from like 2014, 15 of Liberty University, and he's a good dude. But
yeah, they have a solid program. It always makes all of us jealous when they roll up in literally a Liberty bus. Like, they get a bus that they bring to nationals. And of course, the rest of the programs are barely getting some cash here and there to, from the schools to do what they can do. Yeah. I mean, I'll say a personal for our team back in 2018, it cost us each something just above $500 a piece to play nationals. And we live here in Orlando where the event happened.
Wow, that's wild.
Yeah, well, if you 120 cases of paint, I mean, that's insane. So that is just – if you had to take a rough guess, how many points you guys think you played that event?
I think it touched, and this is a random guess, but I'm going to go ahead and say it was probably somewhere around 55-ish.
Yeah.
That's wild.
So, yeah, and that's including 2 mercy rules. So we mercied UConn twice. So those are still considered less points than your average game because it's just 8 straight points. So.
And this is a one-day event, correct? It's typically all done?
No, these are 3 days. So it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
So you can play like the NXL's xball.
Yeah, essentially.
Okay.
Interesting. Okay. See, I didn't know that either. Now, Reese, you are the president of the Knights, or are you the? What are you? I guess I don't know.
Actually, technically, as of about 4 days ago, I'm the former president.
Former president. Okay.
So we lucked out. For those who don't know, I had a kid last year, and I have a second one on the way. And doing that, plus managing the club, plus doing my senior year in college, it really just wasn't happening. But from what we were able to achieve over the past few years while I've been president, has been pretty cool. We were the lowest tier when I first came in, with a budget of about just above $2,000 for the year. And as I leave, we're in the highest tier, touching, and I don't know exact numbers, but touching over $8,000. For the year, which is really cool because if you look at this last year, for example, we were able to do all kinds of stuff that the club had just never were able to do. We hosted an event here in Orlando. the UCF Invitational. Unfortunately, Tampa did win it. Unfortunate, but we were able to host our own event. We traveled out of state to the twice actually, to the MICT event 1 up in Indiana. We won that. We went to another event in the Carolinas, in South Carolina that time. We took both first and second. So we were able to actually travel out of state with this additional funding and show that, hey, we have a good program. We can do something with this. And so I'm just glad to, as I let it go to now the president, Stephen Bosky, they have a good program. They have a good foundation. They can hopefully do something with it.
Yeah, nice. I hope so too. That's awesome.
It's just insane because when it was just getting going, it wasn't really that big. We had a few players that I've known forever that were all scattered, and some played for. This is always crazy to me. There's 2 different GSUs, right? There's Georgia State University. Yep. There's Georgia Southern University. Mm-hmm. And I always say, the guys like, oh, I play for GSU. I'm like, oh, cool. And I would always think that they're here. And then we had 3 or 4 players that I've known forever that played for State. And then we had 2 players here that played for Southern. And then we had Reed, who played for Georgia Tech. So they were just, it's crazy that all these guys are virtually in the same area, but they're all playing for different colleges. And I'm not really sure. I'm assuming, does it go – how's the divisional go? Is it like separated kind of like football where it's, it's in a different – or everybody's in the same class for tier of school or –
Everybody's in the same class. The easiest way for me to explain it is it's done based on money. If you want to, and also size of your program. If you have 10 guys that are willing to go to – because as you know, playing true xball, you need bodies.
Yeah,
right. You're gonna gas dudes out quick in 2 10-minute halves.
Well, if you're playing 60 points in that an event, I mean it's insane.
Yeah, and so essentially, it just comes down to: are you willing to cough up? So nationals is the only event that is actually true xball. All the regional events are your standard race to 2 5-man setup, what's called Class AA. The higher class or the true xball class is called Class A, and then from there you get your 10-man true xball, start grinding out. They still have penalty boxes, which I don't know if I'm allowed to cuss on this podcast, but
you're good. You're good.
Fucking losing.
No, I mean, I think that was the best thing of watching original pro xball was like the guy's not paying attention to the clock, just jogging in to hang the flag or buzz it, and some dude just comes to the box and just rips him apart. It's like,
legit. Again, going back to the 2018 national championships, when we played Liberty in the finals, they had us 7 points. I mean, they were on the verge of mercy ruling us, and the only thing that saved us was me coming out of the box, running and gunning, and smoking a dude who had no idea was coming out, and then running and hanging the flag. And looking back on that, it's like I miss those. Hey, there's a third element you got to think about. It's not just the other team. It's not just the coaching, because sideline coaching is allowed in true xball or for us. And
that's for like everybody on the sideline, right? It's all participation, not just.
Oh yeah, which means counter coaching.
Yeah,
all the good stuff. Oh, bro, it gets insane. I love it. There's the passion about it as well. It gets so good. And the element of that is something I miss because I grew up playing true xball in the Carolinas, playing against the gridlock guys, playing in the CFLA and all that. It was just I miss all that. And so when I did my time in the military and got out, and was like, hey, I can go play college. Oh, fuck me. There's true xball in college? Yeah. Bro, bloody knuckles. Let's go. I loved it this whole time.
Do they have a 5-man, or is it just? Is there an option for like teams that, let's say, are smaller, that only get 5 or 6 guys? So they're okay. That's what I was curious about.
So the NCPA national championships, unfortunately, due to the COVID crisis this year, didn't happen. But there's Class A and AA. AA is that 5-man format that everyone's used to. And so one of the things we like to do, and it started last year, but we were going to do it again this year, is throw in an xball team, which is our best players. I think the lowest rank on our team for Class A was a Division III player or 2 Division III players, but it's all D2 and D1. Like we have really good players on our Class A team. And then anybody else who didn't make that cut but made the second cut could play in the AA squad. And they were actually pretty good because most of them were playing in the MVPS locally as well. So they had played some events and all that good stuff. And it worked out. And I hope it just continues that way.
Oh, me too. Any paintball is good paintball. So
I agree. The problem you run into with college is, I mean, just like anything with speedball, you're looking at a niche, right? People
Yes.
enjoy paintball for fun here and there, but then it's like, hey, okay, you need to enjoy paintball. Now you need the expendable income for tournament paintball. Oh, wait, now you need all that and be a college student, right? It's a niche inside a niche inside a niche, and it's hard to navigate that.
Touching on the MVPS, I know last year you were helping out Alex, I believe, right? Or most of the events, but now this year you've taken on a bigger role with the MVPS?
Yes, I am essentially the staffer. So I'm the ultimate referee of the events, and then I am also the person who hires all the refs and staff, and just make sure that everyone's covered down. All the refs are trained appropriately. We have a good spread of the seasoned refs with the not so seasoned refs. They're delegated out appropriately with the head refs. I'm also the one who essentially quells all the arguments. So, when Georgia Extreme, cheats and all that good stuff, and they get
that's never happened.
They wipe a hit, and then they're screaming at the ref. I'm the guy who comes in and essentially says, "Hey, go about your day or don't play. It's up to you."
Never.
Yeah, I know.
Ever.
And kind of touching on your military background, I actually met you through the VM program, and
Yep.
I do a lot of the Georgia stuff here, but I know you are the big wig down there for the Florida side. So you run all the VM from the Florida side, right?
Sure. Honest to God, it was literally just I knew some VM guys here in Florida, and I was just like, hey, I'm ranked out to play with you guys, but let's just get a bunch of classless vets together to shoot, fish oil paintballs at each other and call it a day. And it's worked out great, man. We've built a pretty tight knit group down here. The Facebook chat has turned into a bunch of meme lords essentially, but
that's how it usually works.
It's a boog chat. That's all it is, and it's.
I have to leave every time I get into a chat. Like if Rangel or anybody adds me to a chat, he's like, "Hey, we're gonna play the MSXL. You gonna play with me? Yeah, cool. We're all playing together, and then it's like the chat is lit for like 3 days, and then as soon as that it's done, it's like. Just dick pics and like memes. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm gonna hop out of here real quick.
Every time Dwayne adds me to another chat, I'm just like, Dwayne, I'm good, bro. I don't need the chat. Just message me and
just
tell me
text me. Hey, show up at 7. I'll be there.
Funny.
Yeah, you need me. Where are we practicing? Oh, you need me in PB Fit in Texas? All right, cool. Just give me the dates. I don't need a chat. Just let me know.
It's crazy. I mean, that's what happens when you get like 10 or 20 vet guys like all into a group chat, and then half of them are just like dicking around during the day anyways. Mm-hmm. So they're all just
it was pretty interesting the stand-up of the VM program as well, because I actually know Rangel from way back in the day. Him and I started a team called Underprivileged together in North Carolina when he was stationed at Camp Lejeune, and I was some 15-year-old punk that was just playing at a local field. Rangel came out with a couple guys and essentially started playing, and he was like, hey, let's start a team. And so we did. And then we just thrashed all across Carolina, played World Cup, and just had a good time. I got to the point where I graduated high school, or technically wasn't graduated, but I wasn't living at home anymore, I'll put it that way. And I was legit living on and off his couch, just playing paintball for a year. Like, just, hey, I just want to play ball, bro. Where are we going? Oh, Chattanooga, let's go play ball. Where are we going? Oh, the Gridlock guys are playing out at Rock Hill. Let's make the hike. Like, we're just playing ball. It's all I wanted to do. And he left for his 5th or 6th deployment. I forget which one. And then
17.
Yeah, exactly right. And then I ended up going in the military as well. And it was just, just like any other VM team, at a certain point, everyone just shoots to the winds. And then when I got back, went to England for a while, which was legit. I ended up playing for the London Tigers semi-pro over in the Millennium Series for a couple years. Funny story, the moment I get to England, I get tasked out to Afghanistan. I'm gone for 8 months, right? Cool, did whatever, came back, and I just jumped on some forums like, hey, I'd like to play, whatever. Just give me a gun and I'll play. A guy who's actually a legend that had no idea, Twiz, he did run the London Tigers back then, hit me up and was like, hey, we have a walk-on pro tournament. It's local. We're playing the open division if you just want to come play for fun. And I just showed up, hadn't played in like a year. We ended up taking 3rd, like just
That's awesome.
Dumpstering on all kinds of teams. And he was like, hey, do you want to play semi-pro? And I was like, fuck yeah, bro. I get to travel all over Europe. Fuck yeah, let's go. and ended up traveling all over Europe playing for the London Tigers and just having a fucking blast. And then, of course, I get sent to Korea where there's no such thing as paintball. And then I go to Hawaii. So the only way I can play any of the NPPL, NXL, or any of that shit is going to be like, $3,000 in flights. I was like,
I think
paintball deserts.
Jonathan was McCormick. J-Mac was actually I want to say he was stationed in Korea for a while. I'm pretty sure, and then he was with the. I don't know. We'll get it wrong. I think is the 2ID. Is that who's over there?
I'm Air Force, bro. You got me.
He was on the base in Korea, and they had a little field, and the Army put a team together for him to fly back and play World Cup as the 2ID team, which now the Army has their All-Stars, which wasn't around then. But
with
we
Jeff
had him on the
Munoz?
podcast. Say again?
With Munoz? Jeff Munoz?
No, he doesn't know Jeff. Now
Okay.
he knows him through VM, obviously.
Yeah.
He didn't know him prior. He knew like Rob Osan and all those kind of guys. But yeah, it's crazy because there was an all-star team at the time, I don't believe. But he flew back. The Army paid for their flights to come out and play World Cup from Korea. So it's a little bit more, I guess, organized now to where then it was kind of like, just like do your thing, give us the bill, we'll just pay for it and go have fun, like come back later.
Bro, I wish, because I had tried to get a hold of, I knew the Army All-Stars were out of Korea when I was there, and they had told me to contact Jeff Munoz, and this is actually kind of a funny story. I had messaged him, and it was a cold Facebook message. I sent him like my resume, like, bro, I played semi-pro all over Europe, I play wherever you need me, just get me on a plane to play some paintball, I don't care. And I never got a reply back. Ever until I think it was World Cup last year or 2 years ago when I actually met Jeff. And
said, hey, bitch, check your PM.
Well, I was just like, hey, man, what's up? Blah, 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 blah. And we just, sent some messages to each other. And I saw that there was a message above the one he had just sent me. And so I scrolled up and I was like, I ran into the other room because we were at Rangel's house in Texas. And I ran into the room. I was like, Jeff, scroll up, bro. What the fuck is this? I was trying to play ball, bro. What the fuck? I didn't even know it was him. I was just like, what the fuck, bro? I was trying to play ball.
Yeah. That's awesome.
And he's like, bro, I had no idea. I'm sorry. I didn't even see it.
Yeah.
All right, Jeff. This friendship is done. No,
but yeah. It's crazy, man. So it's funny how I see how small the world is. So I kind of met you through VM, but I also met you through MVPS, which is the big events that are near us now. And it's just funny how everything is kind of intertwined per se.
Absolutely.
Mike he's helped out a few VM lines now through World Cup, like coaching some guys or down some people, and I brought him in. He's helped us on several occasions, but it's funny because I'm like, oh, you see this guy? Yeah. Well, he plays for this team who actually plays on this team, but he plays for VM, and they'll play this, but he actually practices with these guys, and then plays with this team for, it's just like a spider web is how that typically goes. So it's just so funny.
Well, you're talking about me coaching. I coached y'all's VM line there, but then one of the other groups that played after me and Jamie stayed, they're like, hey, can you coach us? I'm like, sure, whatever, guys. 3 of them were at that last CPSL we played. And the dude looked at me, and he came over. He was like, are you the guy that coached us? I was like, I thought you looked familiar. I was like, I am. I was like, I coached you for like 2 matches. I was like, I didn't coach you all day. But he was like, yeah, you look real fucking familiar. I'm like, yep, that same dude.
Yep. It's crazy. So what made you start playing? Like what brung you into the sport, you think?
To be honest, it was the same stereotypical entry that everyone else had.
Really?
The birthday party.
I
was like 12 years. I was like 12 years old. I don't know if you can't know Camp Lejeune very well, or do you know Bambi Bullard?
Unfortunately, say again.
That's wild. It's Bambi.
Say again, Bambi. We played. We won
Act
series. We played the open act. We played the open act series for 2 seasons, and we won the series both times.
What year? Just curious.
Shit, dude. This would probably be 03 to 06. Yeah,
that is wild. Okay, that's a small world.
Okay, so
that's what I'm telling you. It's crazy.
I grew up at Lejeune, or just outside of Lejeune, and we just at my buddy's birthday party, we'd gone on base, just played with some rentals, and I was like, wow, this is really fun. And there were 2 dudes there who obviously played speedball, had some badass cockers or something, and they were just ripping into us. And I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. This is legit. I'm 12 years old. I can't afford any of that shit, but okay. And go a couple seasons later where, I've got a little bit of an income coming in. My dad had got me like a Spider Imagine for a birthday, a little like $100 Spider from Walmart.
Yeah.
Playing in the woods with my friends, all that good stuff. And long story short, a couple buddies were like, "Hey man, have you tried this tournament paintball thing before?" Nope. Picked up like a Bushmaster LCD and ended up, or LED, excuse me. There was no LCD back then. It's LED. Or no, was it LCD?
It had a little
switch on the side. Yeah.
A little switch, God. A little snake on the side of the fucking gun. Yeah.
Bro, I had an egg on it and everything. I was like, bro,
an egg.
Bro, I was literally like the local field champion, man. I felt like I was on top of the world, 14 years old, just playing ball, and just had a good time with it. And it wasn't until my first couple tournaments that I realized how
this is a giant waste of money.
No, that's like more how dog shit I actually was, because I had to leave that area to really get a good momentum on, hey, this is what caliber you need to be. And so I started making some treks, again, out to Rock Hill and places like that, where at the time Trauma and the Gridlock program were built up at. And I would make those treks out there, get some buddies. I had a buddy who would make the trek out there to play all the time, and I would just grind out with these guys. And long story short, suddenly I'm a decent player at like 15, 16 years old. Again, I wasn't near any big programs, so I was just playing low ball and having a good time with it. And like I said, after I left for the military, I was able to walk onto a semi-pro team, and it was just like, sick, let's go.
Yeah. And, I see Mike shaking his head because he knows he knows the pain. And I say that because here in Savannah, everybody's like, "Oh, you're from Savannah?" Like, yeah, it's a great place, but we're geographically challenged. Yeah. We are 3 to 4 hours from every good place to play paintball. We're 4 hours from Atlanta. We're 4 hours from like Myrtle Beach area. We're 4 hours from Orlando. So we have to travel. Now we have Bayside to Jacksonville, so it's about 2-ish from us. So we have a good competition there. But besides that, we have to travel 3.5 to 4 hours to get real teams to play against. Yeah. Because we're like the big fish in the small pond. Like anybody that comes out and hangs out, they can be playing for like 10 years, but they've never traveled and played. So, and they come out there, they're 5 guys, but they've never played like, NXL seasons or MVPS seasons. And to us, some of us have been playing, like I've almost been playing 20 years, and then Mike's, you're touching that too. 12, so I've probably played over 100 events, but I've never been like in an area that has had paintball like thriving. Like now it's crazy. And we talked about it a little while ago. I went and tried out for a pro team when I was 15 in Atlanta for Extreme forever ago. And I ultimately made the team, but lost the team because I was a hothead. And didn't know.
No, really?
And I actually, long story short, the guy came out here for a wedding, and he came to my father's field, and him and his buddy, and they were both, I don't know the names of the players. I was probably 14, 15. And they came out here, and they were kind of like beating up on a lot of the D4 kids. And I was able to like play right alongside with them. And he told my dad at the time, he's like, "Hey," he's like, "bring your son up to Atlanta in like 2 weeks. We'll have like the Georgia Bulldogs there. We'll have a lot of teams at this field." And I didn't even know. It was like driving down like 75, and you look to the right, and there's like 2 giant brand new xball fields in the middle of nowhere off of 75. I'm like, okay. So we just drove down there with a couple of our buddies that we play with here. And I was fucking feasting on these people. I'm like, dude, this is like, D1, D2 kids. I'm like, and I'm technically still ranked D4 and just fucking playing out of my mind. Well, I didn't know that it's towards the end of the day. And this is when traditional X-ball field, long zipper snake. And they have 2 guys in the snake, and I'm in the snake. And I run down, dunk one, and keep going, and blatantly like shoot one dude in the back of the head and kept going. And he turns around probably 2 seconds after and probably puts 15 in my back. And I'm like, and then I just like a switch. I just literally turn around and just fucking railed this dude into the dirt. Like just literally sat there and just melted him to the ground. And they were coaching, and they're like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa." And I'm getting shot by every fucking person on the field. All my guys clear out. They're like, we're having a brawl. And after the event, the guy comes up and tells my dad, he's like, "I want to let you know the skills there, everything's there. He's just he has a temper and that's not going to work in xball. That'll cost us 1 million penalties. And he's like, I had no clue. Like that was a test per se. I'm like, sweet, I passed, failed. That's awesome.
That sounds 100% you.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, we've heard like 1 million stories. He's watched me like blow people's flexes in half before. But yeah,
I'm glad you don't do that shit now.
Yeah, I have a little bit less, anger.
When I actually tried out for one pro team, I tried out for the London Nexus while I was over there, and it actually went really well. Something like 70 people showed up.
Wow.
I made it to the final 10. They were taking the top 5 and then pull from there. And in that last 10, I was cut. And one of the big things that I'm really big about, at least I was back then as well, I literally went up to the captain of the Nexus, was like, all right, man, I'm cut. I understand. What can I do to get better, right?
Yeah.
And when you're going to love this answer because, back in the 2000s, everything was, bloody knuckles, just beat the shit out of the dude on the other side of the X-ball field. His actual response to me was, you play too American, right? And now, mind you, at the time, I was literally just a snake brawler. Like, if you were in the snake, I was going to run my javelin through your chest. Like, it was everything was, I'm diving snake off break. I'm going to raffle stomp to the 50. I'm going to smoke 50 dudes across field, even if there's only 2 of them. It doesn't matter. I'm going to dunk you in the snake, even if I get shot like 300 times. I didn't care. I just wanted to win. Like, I literally still have scars on my hands from the turf, removing, like, the back of my hands and stuff at these events. And it was like, at just those tryouts. And I was like, bro, I want your snake position, even though Jason Wheeler was their snake player, right? The best snake player to ever come out of Europe. Right. Probably. Axel Godin would probably bite that one, but Jason was insane, and I was like, bro, I want Jason's spot. Like, Wheeler, I'm coming for your fucking throat, bro. Like, I wanted it so bad, and he was like, you play too American. And I remember just sitting back, like, I take criticism pretty well. Well, yeah, exactly. What does that mean? Am I too aggressive? Cool. Tell me I'm too aggressive. But what the fuck does too American mean? Is that why the American teams come over to Europe and dick stomp everybody?
Yeah, exactly.
What do you mean too American? I don't understand. But yeah, he couldn't quite give me a straight answer, which, oh well.
Yeah, exactly. That's
hey, the other funny side to that, like you were talking about, was I played all that semi-pro in Europe, and when I came back to the States, that was before APPA had gone over there. So none of that is on my APPA.
Yeah, exactly.
So I came back and I was straight D5. Bro. I'm like, D5, baby. D5. And so in the MVPS, you can go back on my APPA. And so for like 3 or 4 of the events that year, I literally played D5, D4, and D3 the whole weekend, right? So I was grinding out X-ball one day, and then I was playing X-ball and 5-man the next day. Like, just grinding. I was like, I just want to play paintball. I just want to shoot everybody I fucking can. I don't get like it was so much fun. But then I got up with Alex, who used to be the president of the Knights paintball team. Lived right up the road. We became good buddies, and long story short, he was just like, hey, I got a position. I need someone to work it. And so.
Where do most of the players around there play? Because I got a lot of family in Orlando, and obviously there's CFP. But I've played one time with my cousin. I think it was called Paintball Orlando, and it was like by a slaughterhouse, old slaughterhouse, or so. That's the only place I've ever played it other than CFP.
Did it cost you your left testicle to play?
Oh, well, it would have. Thankfully, my uncle paid for it. And I was the only one. Okay. This was probably 2008 or 9. And I was the only one that, like, I was playing tournaments at that time. So I was playing with a bunch of kids that were like, I shouldn't have been playing with. Like, I mean, I'm no superstar, but
at that time frame, I'll be honest, I have no idea. I only moved here about 4 years ago. Okay. So I don't know, like, the history of paintball down here in Florida. Yeah. It's just not my forte.
Is there a battlefield or is something called?
There's a Battlefield Orlando, which is an awesome field run by Tim and Kim Fallon. But great people, great family field. They do big scenarios there. They're the ones who thankfully hosted our UCF event because it was supposed to be held on campus until we decided to put one of the 4-foot stakes that hold the corner post on a field, decided to put it through a water line. And so we were told we couldn't have the event on campus, which sucked. But yeah, I mean, they were willing to, let us have it at their field, which was awesome. Other fields nearby, you've got a couple private fields where a lot of the better teams tend to play. You've got CFP, of course. You got actually you have a new field. You have a new field having a soft opening this weekend.
Yeah, that's Tiki's, right?
Yeah,
Is that
Tiki's.
what that is? Yeah.
So Alex Udell, the guy who owns the MVPS,
I was gonna say,
and then
Alex
Aaron
is,
Vega.
Yeah.
So that is in Orlando?
That one will be closer towards Tampa. It's actually close to CFP, ironically. But
now, and it's been forever, but when I used to play the original CFPS, I believe Vega, and I could be way off. There was a program down there called Revolution.
That used to play with them?
Yeah. So because they're pretty big. They had like 3 or 4 lines, right? They're like xball lines. They're at the time they had like a line in every single CFPS division, like all the way up.
Yeah, he's pretty good about having consistent lines. Like I said, when I first came here, I started playing with him. Again, ironically, I just met Zudell through UCF. And then from there, I started playing with his guys with Orlando Entourage. They ended up becoming the Division II team for Revolution. And then I ended up playing Division III with Revolution, won 1 or 2 of the events that year. I know we won the Daytona Beach event specifically in Division III, and then just playing some other events with them for fun. It was a good program. Also family environment, because they normally go hand in hand with the Warriors for Christ. So there's the church aspect of it as well. And
I was going to ask you about WFC. We played them a few times in the SPL, and I think we always get invited to they have a private field, I believe. That's really nice.
In Brandon, I think it's called.
Yeah, they always invite us to it, and they're like, "We'll take care of it. You just come down. We'll take care of the paint, and we'll work something out." But it's like 4 hours, and I have a hard time getting my guys to drive 25 minutes to practice. Much less 4 hours. And
it was actually one of my big downfalls to more recently stepping back a little bit from speedball more and more was, unfortunately, the program I was with at the time, we would go to their field, but I would make this 2.5 hour hike to play 6 or 8 points, bro. And it was just like, is that really worth my time? Where, with the UCF guys, it was much easier for me to just be like, hey, I buy a skid of paint, right? We get it cheaper. I play at a local field that lets me bring my own paint for a cost, and I can shoot 4 cases of paint and have a legit practice. I can shoot 10 pods if I want to, if that's what I'm training for in the corner.
Yeah.
It worked out because the ICPL that happened earlier this year, we ended up winning it. And
that's awesome too.
You played the Dark Ops, right?
Yeah, the MVPS guys, Dark Ops.
Did Alex play with that line?
Yeah, Alex essentially picked the line and then ran with it. But yeah, it was a great line, great program, great, just all around good time. I don't think there was a sober person on the field.
That's how those events typically work, I believe.
Yeah, the stand-up of classic paintball and just the mechanical side has just been phenomenal. It's so much fun, so much more laid back. And then you also
I got a CVO right here.
Nice. I don't have my guns in this room. I have a Predator EMEC.
Oh, nice.
But I love the stand-up of it, and then more importantly, just the fun of it. And then you have the funny things that happen at the events. Like we had a 100-point woods ball game, right? And if you ever go in the woods at CFP, you can't see shit. You don't know what's happening on either side of the field. You have no idea. And then at the end of the game, we're like, oh, we're 10 alive. Like, wait, we had 100 points in the woods? And whoever is at, it was just so much fun that
that isn't usually. Somebody's gonna get shot by somebody laying in 2 pounds of mud with a ghillie and just waiting. His whole team's dead. He's like, I'm gonna shoot somebody. I'm gonna wait here all day. I'm gonna shoot somebody right in the back. All right, cool, got him. But usually somebody has to die.
And we had teams do that against us where they would essentially hide in a corner. Their last guy would just hide in a corner of the field. We'd run up to grab the flag. You'd start getting shot. You don't know where from. The dude's in a little divot in a corner, and you're like, fuck, hey, we lost a guy, we don't know where from, so now it's slow playing and time runs out. I love that method of paintball coming back. It's been great for paintball, to be honest. And I think more importantly for the rental players who come out and see, I play with my mech now when I go play rec ball, and see, look, you see my mech? It does the same thing your gun does. The same thing. You can do what I'm doing. It's okay, right? You just get some fundamentals down. Same thing. Have fun with it.
That's exactly. Most of us have all not switched, but have all bought generally high-end mechs just to kind of put our guns down on the side, and like we'll probably go play rec tomorrow, and with our mech guns, and it's kind of fun, like to take a step back from all of us shooting Luxes and then go. And I made it clear, like I'm gonna get Mike's ass to get he has a million cockers, but I'm gonna get him to get a nice piece, like an SFL or something.
Nope.
I'll get it. Because he's in love with that CVO, and don't get me wrong, I feel like it's like cheating. The CVO.
Well, you're a cocker nerd. I know that.
Yes, they're just like cheating. The CVOs and the EMAX just shoot way too fast. I see the guys using the mech like 170s, I believe, and his guns are just like machine guns. I'm like, I'm out here, like still like. I'm like, oh god.
You weren't there that weekend at Hoppers. That kid, he was getting so pissed. It was like they kept leaving me. They were separating the teams really bad, where they were putting like 12 people versus like 4 of us, but it was like 2 tournament players and 2 guys that just spoke Spanish. So I was like, well, we're at a real big – I don't care how good you can be. I'm at a real big disadvantage here. And it was coming down to like 2-on-8s, and I was like, well, now I got to actually play. And I'd like shooting at this guy. He's like, he's ramping. And I'm like, I'm not, dude. I'm just shooting as fast as I fucking can because there's 10 of y'all running at me. Like, I got to defend myself. I can't not play.
Yeah. The CVOs will rot out, like for sure. Like we know a guy here named Aaron Rios, and I'm sure you've probably seen the videos. He plays I don't know why I can't think of the name right now. Jesus. They all shoot adrenaline shockers, but there's a video of him playing and he is like wild. Like they pull his gun and the ref shoots it and he sees his mech and Aaron shoots a gun. It's like literally like, and it's shooting way probably like 13 or 14. And he gets the gun again, and the ref gets it. And he goes, "No, this gun's done, dude. You're done. You're out of here." He's like, "What? What do you mean? It's mech." He's like, "You just shot it. It's mech. It's mech." So he gets the gun again, and then another ref comes up and shoots it. He's like, "It's mech, dude." So he grabs the gun right in front of the ref and turns. It's like, it's like, "I'm telling you, it's just me. The guns. This is how the gun shoots." He's like, "Oh, okay, that's fine, dude." And walks off.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's insane, man. His guns are just machine guns now.
Yeah.
Oh, Saberwolves. I don't know why I blanked on that name, but yes, plays with Saberwolves. But it's crazy. I've been wanting one of those just to like have one to shoot that fast, and I'm like, I can't do it. I gotta just stick with the cocker and just suck it up.
This is kind of backtracking a little bit, Reese, but I had one more question. You were talking about Bambi and was that – sorry, no, it's been in my head the whole time because I only ever have –
you have to say it like this. Bambi.
Stop. She might listen. No. I only have 2 experiences with her, and one is just from Wes and his dad always telling me about her, and the other one was we went to a tournament up there. This was probably 2009, and she was doing a 3-man, and it was on Camp Lejeune, and granted, I was probably 14 or 15 at the time.
Don't say you got peer pressure into this. I know what you're going to say.
I don't know. But we went on the military base, and we were with some military guys, and they got us on, and I didn't have an ID or anything with me, and they were like kind of sketched at me. A 14-year-old kid showing up with like all grown men with military IDs. It kind of looks fishy, but we got onto the base, left, and came back, and she to get us back on the second time because they didn't want to let us in, she shoved us in the back seat of her van and drove us on, and I got all this paintball gear just covered on top of me. And I was like, what in the fuck? I'm like, and then we get out, it's just her express. She's just a crazy ass lady. What did you think I was going to say? You had me all confused now.
Yeah, I was thinking about that, the point where you guys shot off Brick. Yeah, that point.
Oh, yeah. One of her refs was being an ass, I guess, to be the best word. And we had 3 teams in this tournament in 3 different divisions, and she kept thinking we were swapping players, like in and out, because we all had the same jerseys on. But we just had different color undershirts so we could differentiate who was who. Well, Wes's dad was like, hey, just shoot the shit out of the ref. So the next 3 games in a row, everyone comes up, shoots the ref, plays the game.
Terrible. Don't do that.
Next team comes up, shoots the ref, plays the game. Next team. And then after that, she didn't call. She kept the calls good. But I don't know if it was Bambi we actually shot or her main ref. But that was my only experience with her. But she's
and Reese is like, motherfuckers. He's like, this is why the refs don't want to help me anymore.
I know.
We actually had a refs getting shot incident happen at Bayside, actually, at the MVPS last year.
I wasn't there.
I can't think of the guy's name.
I won't drop names, but I'll make it short and sweet. That there were punitive actions taken immediately. But yeah, it's always hard from the other side as well.
Yes.
Like, with the refs. And actually, there's some funny things you can do as the ultimate ref that I enjoy, especially when someone comes up and they think they're the most well-known person, right? I.e., whoever you can think of that's like a well-known paintball player, and they come up saying, this should be changed, and I'm just like, who are you?
Yeah.
Why is this important? No,
Yeah.
what the head refs say. And that's the cool thing that I actually like about the NXL rulebook when it relates to ultimate refs is it literally says in the NXL rulebook, I can't change the call that happened on the field. The head ref makes that call. And so this is my conversation. I looked at the player and I go, what's your complaint? They tell me the complaint. I look at the head ref. I say, head ref, does the call change? No. Okay, sir, be about your day. Like there's the only medium that I have that's different. I have had it where refs are chirpy and the refs are losing their mind. And it's easy for me because I can look at them and go, bro, I'm gonna start docking pay.
Yeah.
Like that does not happen here, right? Yeah. Like I'm gonna eject you from this field and you're not gonna get paid, right? Or you're gonna get paid and I will never hire you again. So there's that other avenue that I have to play where it's also the HR rep, but also, hey, customers, right? You're a paying customer. I want you to come back. So I want you to see that, hey, if a ref is being a hothead and a ref is actually being malicious, I'm going to do what I can to keep you, the customer, happy. But also understand as the customer that if you're just blowing smoke, I'm going to laugh at you and say, ref, play.
Every player thinks if they're not having a good day that the refs are dog shit.
The refs are 100% wrong the entire tournament.
Oh, yeah.
We the event we just won, we played gridlock in the quarters of the semis, and I just told the story last podcast, but we fucking beat the brakes off of them, like 3-0'd them, and they just all day. I happened to be we were a game behind them all day, so we were watching them play, and they were just not having a good day. And Scuba Steve was up there, and I don't know if you remember him or not, but
Steve.
Yeah, he's the ultimate, and he's watching them, and he's seeing them struggle, and that's his guys. And they're blaming the refs, and they're blaming this, and they're blaming that, and they're blaming the refs are fucking this up, and they're not doing this. And he's like, dude, I don't know what, I'm trying to help you, but you got guns that are hot, you got guns that you're doing this, you're leaving early, you're playing on, you're talking when you're walking off. Mm-hmm. So they are just like on edge, just like right on the breaking point. So we were kind of like heating up throughout the prelims towards the end. And we go on the field and just straight up 5 bodies, just like roll them off the field. And I'm getting a little chirpy, like getting in their head, and they're going to the dead box, and they're getting mad. They're fucking like talking, and like second game up, they shoot one of our guys mid game. They're down like 2 bodies, and our guy gets in the bunker and he's shot in the pack, and he's asking for a ref for a paint check. He's in the bunker up against it, not shooting, not talking. He's like, check my pack, and this dude is screaming. He's like, and I'm down the D 200, and I hear this dude yelling, his pack. He's like screaming, and I see my guy. He's like calling for it. Well, long story short, I come out, rope this dude off the field, and he's standing up and he's bitching. I fucking said he's hitting the pack. And I'm like, he's talking. That's a minor. And he's like, fuck you. He's like, he's there. So they're like, we end up 3-0 on them, and they're walking off. They're like, the refs are out here playing like fucking shit. They're not helping anybody. So I walk up and I'm like, hey man, good game. And this dude is just going off. And Scuba is sitting there, and I'm like, dude, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. And he's like, nah, he's a hide. Fuck him. So all his guys come up. And they're like, hey man, good game. So at the end of the day, we win, and I walk by the refs. I'm like, hey, I appreciate you guys hanging out. You guys are all called assholes and dickheads, and you're the worst person in the world. I'm like, but you called a pretty fair game, like all day. I didn't have any really bad calls. I'm like, they're like, yeah, we know, we've been around a long time. We know we're going to be every name in the book all day. I'm like, it just sucks because I reffed a few events in my life, and I'll never do it ever again. So
it takes a certain kind of patience, that's for sure. And I always thank my refs, and that's one of my big things since Alex hired me is when I pay the refs, I handwrite all their checks and I make sure they're paid. That I literally say, thanks, right? Like I know you just put up some dumb shit, right? Yeah. I know I'm there watching it. I know you have to call me over to deal with it. I know, I understand. Just thank you, right? Because what you pay refs, honestly, like even in my mind, right? I did 7 years as a police officer, right? It's like, bro, the shit that refs have to deal with is just silly.
Yeah,
right?
oh yeah.
Silly. And my favorite one here is you brought up, like, I shot him in the back, ref, check him, I shot him in the back. If players just read the rule book, they'd stop doing that.
Yeah.
It literally says you can call that you hit somebody. The ref has no obligation to go check that guy unless they suspect a hit, or right, you get a signal from another ref in the center like, hey, check that guy, right? There's look on the inside, look on the pack, whatever their call is. The ref has no obligation because you call it to go check him. Right?
Yeah.
But again, most players won't read the rule book and see that.
Nope, didn't know that.
I'm guilty of the same thing. I don't think any of
me
us
too.
have read one from front to back.
Oh, bro, in the moment, everyone does it. Like when we played the UCF event, the refs there are MVPS refs. Like we hired the refs to come do everything. While I was playing, I legit in the moment bunkered a dude, and of course, in my mind, complete bias, I made the run. I shot him in the hopper and was switching to the next guy, and he shot me, right? And I look, ref, I shot him first. Ref, like, of course you do it, right? It's just like it's in the heat of the moment. Ref, I shot him first, and nope. Adam was his name. He plays for the Jits. That's a minor, bro. You're talking after you're hit, right?
Yeah.
Of course, it's heat of the moment. I'm an ultimate ref, and I still do it when I play. I understand, right? I understand.
Oh, yeah.
I will say this. Out of all, I've played a lot of different series. The MVPS and the SPL, actually, I've always had the best refs out of those two. I mean, I know you're with the MVPS.
You always see the same refs.
Bro, it's the same refs.
I figured.
The group of refs, that's the bigger, big
they're
dude.
the ICC refs. Most of them are NXL refs. Most of them fly to the WCPPL. I forget what their tournament is, but they do all the reffing. And that's why I think it's funny is when we have people come up to me and say, hey, man, the reffing was garbage. Or they might say something like, oh, I'm going to start my own tournament series. I'm going to hire my own refs. It's like, bro, you're going to hire these refs. Like, these are the refs. These are the people that literally fly all over the world and ref paintball. This is them.
We see the same. It's like the core 6 refs. I think the head ref's name is Phil.
Yes.
He always has the locks and the flex, I think. Never had an issue out of him. And it's the other, I think the bigger black dude, he typically doesn't wear shoes. Have the big gauges. Those two guys are always together, always reffing the same events. And we get them in the SPL and get them in the MVPS. We never have an issue out of them.
You even had them in the NXL last year when I coached you guys. I walked out. I was like, I've had the same ref all
I walked
season.
by. I'm like, hey, man, why are you wearing shoes? He's like, apparently I have to wear shoes to be a professional ref. That's the rule. And I said, man, that fucking sucks. He's like, yeah, tell me about it.
Go shoeless, bro. The refs are happy. The players are going to be happy. So, and that's the big thing. My takeaway is just trying to make the refs as happy as possible. Food on time. I get them ice, like stuff for their drinks, just ice to put on them. If I can get enough refs, I will hire extra refs so the refs can have a work-rest cycle, right? Going back to the military SOP. What's the work-rest cycle, right? What's everybody doing, right? Is everybody rested? Are they making good calls? Are they out there just dying, right?
Dying, missing calls because they're like dying of heat stroke.
But not to dodge your question earlier about Bambi, this is funny. So many people have issues with Bambi. I have never had a bad encounter with Bambi, right? I've heard people drop into, it's Rambi and Rambo, Rambi, whatever.
That's what I said. It's Bambi.
and so I never had a bad run-in with her. In fact, again, she was the first store owner I ever met. I was talking about buying a new barrel, and she was like, no, this is what you need to look for barrels for paintball. Super helpful. I think the only time that I ever had a bad encounter with her respectfully was when Chris Rangel and I first started under Privilege. We were going in her shop, and we realized that she was selling old, and I mean prime, never touched, no bacon, nothing, JT straps for the regular like $20 cost. And I was going in there like 100 bones, just grabbing all of them, hitting up on PB Nation, just, hey, $50, $100 for that, because they were the old original straps. If you're selling them for $20, I know they're worth a lot more. And so Chris and I bought a whole bunch of them. And then she found out what happened, and she got really mad at both of us. And we're like, if that's your selling costs, I just happen to know the market more because I like JTs.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, you're not losing money. You probably bought it for 14. You're selling for 20. You made your $6, but I happen to know I can sell them for 75. So that's the way it works.
But I think that was the only time she ever had like a negative word with me per se. But I never had a problem with her. But there was one hiccup in a tournament one time where we kind of did like what would you call it, the Jedi mind trick with the refs. Long story short, we had actually picked the flag up, back when it was center flag. We had got the flag. Our guy got shot, so he just dropped it at the bunker he was at. The other team killed all of our guys, and they couldn't find the flag. And there was like 15 seconds left, and they couldn't find the flag. And so they're running all over the field trying to find the flag. One of the refs goes, bro, it's right here, right? And so they grabbed the flag, run it in. He ran it in with like a second and a half or something like that on the clock. That made us lose first place. And so, of course, we're like, hey, the ref can't tell him where the flag is at. What the hell was that? And ironically, we end up winning first on essentially a technicality. She wasn't happy about that at all.
It is what it is.
But it was, it is what it is. But yeah, I never had people always have bad things to say about her. I never had a bad run-in with her.
She always hated it because she knew, like, we always played against Manus Pro Factory and
Wait. Do you know the guys from Manus? I just have to ask.
It's been a very long time. I actually played against two of them when I played with VM on the Mounds field. We played against two of the original like Manus guys. A huge big dude, kind of like I don't know, I forget his damn name, but he remembered me. And
they used to practice out at a field. McCoy's was one of the big ones, McCoy's, and then the other one was Milty's in Jacksonville. Smaller field, but they could get out there and they would practice every once in a while. Yep. We actually ended up doing a little bit of hired gun. We picked up Dan Tran from them for an event or two.
Really?
For a little while. Of course, he cheated, and damn you, Dan. If you watch this, Dan, damn you for that hit, Dan. That smoked in the face and just kept going with it, but. They were good. They were a good squad.
Bad News, I think, was a big team back then. Bad News. We always played against them. But we never really had an issue with her.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And mine was just that one. That's the only time I ever met her, and it was right at the very end. Where I don't think she does any paintball stuff anymore. I'm just guessing not. But that was like the only time I ever met her. So
I don't know if she does, but I know it's funny when people discuss paintball and the sport of paintball. And it's actually pretty incredible, a lot of the stuff she's done in the sport of paintball, ironically. But
now looking back on it,
she just has such a bad rap. And I know part of it has to do with the fact that she managed the team of her field, which of course is going to get you a bad rap from people. Because ironically, they're all a bunch of Marines. She's a prior Marine. I understand the Marines are going to do Marine things, and it just some of her
crayons out of the crayon box,
Okay.
Frank will hear us be like, seriously.
Every Marine I have ever played paintball with, I've always had to be the lasso around the neck. Like, bro, whoa! What the fuck are you doing, man? So
it's a bull in a china shop. It really is.
Rangel, honest to God, when he was still in the Corps, was a fucking hothead. And it was always like, Chris, shut the fuck up. You're going to get us a penalty.
Chris, a hothead?
No. Shut the fuck up. I love him to death, man, but it was always just like, Chris, shut the fuck up. You're always going to get us something. Just running his mouth. And
he still has the flair. I played, I guessed it with him and the MSXL, and we had some stupid penalties on just dumb shit. And he came off the field and he was like yelling at him. He's like, "You can't get penalties. You're gonna fuck us. Stop getting penalties." He was like instantly, but without running too crazy late. I know we held you up here. We had you're probably the second person. We'll go this rapid fire Q&A real quick.
Okay.
And this is still new, so you're only the second person.
I don't even think we have an episode out yet with us doing this. But when this is out, this will be the second one. But
do I have to preface it with I'm married and I have to restrict my questions, or
no? You're
good.
They
aren't that bad. No, I don't think they are. I mean, I haven't read them either. He sent me this list like 5 minutes before we got on.
I don't know. It's Wes. I have to preface, so I don't know.
Everybody says that. Yeah, it's terrible.
So we gonna do 10 questions?
We'll just
give me what
we'll
you
go
got.
back and forth on the top, and then I'll pick two from the bottom. So
Okay.
I'll start it off. Favorite gun you've ever owned?
Aurora Edition SL74, still have it.
Oh, good choice. Favorite pro team?
Can't really say. I'll
No
be
fun.
honest. I'm one of those random guys that's just like, cool, pro paintball player.
Okay.
Yeah. What's the best position to play on the field?
If you're playing true xball, front. Like just balls to the wall, front Dorito for me. If I'm playing ICPL, I like chilling in the back because I'm probably staggering already. So
Too many drinks.
All right.
way too many.
X-ball, 5-man, or mech?
Do I want to hunt people or do I want to chill? X-ball or mech, man.
Your favorite player? It could be divisional. It could be pro.
Nope, I got you. Chris Allenizer. I think I say. I don't know if y'all know him.
I don't.
Okay. Have you heard of? He has a YouTube page. Is it like Tank Paintball or something like that? Where he I forget what he has. He has some kind of disability where he can't actually carry his gun, and like it hurts him to walk, and so he has to crawl to the back bunker and shoot his gun.
I've seen that.
Yeah, we actually played an X-ball event with him, man. To this day, I mean, it was like Division 4 X-ball, something like that. But to this day, the best experience I ever had in paintball, bar none, was we won a game, and we essentially ran up and took the gun from him and let him crawl all the way up, grab the flag, and hang the game-winning flag.
That's dope.
Like, bro,
That's awesome.
Bro, there wasn't a dry eye in
I
that.
bet.
I mean,
that is dope.
that refs crying, bro. It was powerful, and I wish Chris all the best, man, because he's such a motivator for so many people.
Yeah,
He's just such a good guy.
Yeah, that's awesome. What's your favorite paint to shoot?
Of all time. It could
of all
be,
time. Yeah.
It could be Hellfire. It could be anything.
Red Legion Star.
Okay.
Now, that's that Pro Char? What is that?
It was I believe it was RPS.
Okay, Red Legion Star.
Yeah, it was one of the big ones in the EPL for a while. I don't remember if it was at the CFOA, but it was the purple shell ball. But for some reason, it had this much worth of paint in it, and when you hit somebody, you could see it from half a mile away. It was bright orange, super thick. It would break on the net, and the paint would still be on the net. That's what Hellfire
ball. You actually answered the most memorable event because that was my next question. So that'll be that. And I guess I'll go with, in your eyes, who's the best player of all time?
Best player of all time.
The silence.
Yeah, man.
It's hard.
It's hard. To me, it's a toss-up between three. And two of them are the stereotypical. You got the Lang, and then you got the Fedorov. I don't know if this last one's going to be a normal, but for me as a kid growing up watching paintball, Lucian Blackburn from Trauma.
Lucian Blackburn from Trauma.
Yeah.
Snake player, right?
Yes. Like watching him just beat the brakes off of people as a kid was always a motivator for me of just like, I mean, I literally still have my Trauma jersey.
I have the gray and black original Trauma jersey, the Draxus Trauma jersey.
So I have that one as well, all signed by John Tinker. I mean, I had a bunch of guys. Before I left for the military, I just went up to all the boys like, hey, man, sign this. Tinker signed it. Rob signed it.
I don't know why I can't think of his name. What's the Tyler Humphrey?
Yep, Humphrey.
Yeah. That was probably one of my favorite players from that line.
But no, just Lucian Blackburn, again, for me as a front snake player, again, not being near any of the big programs, when I would make the drives out there and grind out against these guys, watching him just wreck face was always like, wow, man, I can be that good.
Pick one that you want down on the bottom, Mike, and I'll grab one.
Okay. How many hours of sleep do you need?
Are we playing Modern Warfare or not?
Where are we dropping, boys?
Where are we dropping, boys? I mean, since I've had kids now, a lot less. I don't know, ballpark 5 or 6.
Okay.
The last question: favorite superhero?
Superman.
There you go.
All right.
That was a thing. Yeah, we're trying that out. We did it the episode will come out before yours, but with his wife, and she was they weren't the same questions. I don't think. Probably some of the same.
No, a lot of them are different. Yeah.
And she was like, I don't know how to answer these.
Yeah, last minute. So. Well,
no, I like that because it obviously puts you on the spot, and
yes,
you obviously most of them you're not going to have a dead set answer, but it's good.
So, something. I mean, I don't know if you've listened to any of these podcasts. Me and Wes don't really talk about the topics before we go in. Like I'll bring my one or two questions behind. Yep.
Yeah, and then I'll bring a topic, and then he usually goes first, and then gets my thoughts, and then I'll throw mine, and he gets his thoughts, just so we're not doing like preconceived notions and going, like talking over them. So
yeah, we think it's the most natural way to do it.
It's good. I mean, most people, for me, like if I'm listening to a podcast, it's normally I'm mowing the lawn, I'm doing something, just I just need something to think about or go over through my head. And what y'all do is nice. It's a conversation. We had joked around about, hey, we'll talk about college paintball. I think it was 3 minutes of this talk. We talked more about Bambi than we did college paintball. So I think y'all are doing it right. Just a nice, smooth flowing conversation. If there's a specific topic, pinpoint it. If not, just roll.
Yeah. Yep. Is there anything you want to say? Like anything for UCF or anything? I mean, anything.
Yeah,
I know COVID right now is kind of making things crazy, but
I wouldn't do it specifically for UCF. I'd actually do it for college paintball in general.
Okay.
If anybody listens to this and they are keen on starting a college program at their college, let me know. I've helped a couple programs stand up. I think it's a good part of paintball that we can keep running. I mean, like you said, any paintball is good paintball, but I think college paintball, if we can build it up to an effective foundation, it can be more impactful for the sport. To get, and we know now, with paintball, you need an expendable income generally to play. And if you can start people getting into it around college when they get out and start getting that expendable income, it's just such a good player base to pull from. To just hey, go play locally or start a team or play in the NXL if you want or play ICC, whatever. And I think college can be a good foundation to build all that up. You just got to get the people who are motivated to build the program because there's a lot that goes into it. Behind the scenes,
overlook a lot,
bro. There's meetings, there's paperwork. You have to have every receipt for everything to show what you're doing. You have to fundraise for us 200% of what the school gives us, right? So there's a lot behind it. But if you can make a foundational college team stand up, it's awesome. College paintball, honest to God, is the funnest paintball I've played in probably the last decade of paintball. It's been so much fun.
That's awesome.
Dope.
Well, I'm glad we got to have you on, man. I mean, like you said, we didn't talk as much about college as we thought, but it was good. I learned a lot.
If y'all ever want to do a just straight, hey, what is college paintball or anything like that, let me know. I know for me personally, going to UCF seeing them play paintball was actually one of the reasons I came here. Because I just literally went on APPA. I was like, oh, they've placed first or second at all the national championships the last 6 years. Except for one event. It's like, I want to go to the winning team. Yeah, let's go. I'm on a bandwagon. Let's go.
Yeah, hey, that's fine. Well, Reese, we appreciate you having you on. Definitely the insight. We knew jack shit about the college game, so it's great to hear that side. So I appreciate you taking your time, and tell the wife not to whip your ass later for soaking up the quality time. Her portion.
I know she's asleep already. She's got work.
Oh shit! So
I'm the stay-at-home dad.
Oh, nice. There you go.
You lucked out on that one, man.
He's already hit the Xbox with his foot. Modern Warfare's already booting up.
Yeah. So. Where we jumping? Let's go.
So, well, Mike, you want to take us out of here?
Yeah, I'll get us on. Thanks for listening, guys. Be sure if you are watching on or listening on iTunes to subscribe to it. Your episodes will come in quicker. If you don't, I can't tell you when they're going to be there. Buzzsprout and iTunes do not like each other, so it takes a little bit of time. But thanks for listening, everybody.
See you guys.